It's the ultimate summer giveaway presented by Berrien County Veterans Services. I'm Paul Decker. Today till 6, another registration day on our website. Thanks today to Kevin Hagan and State Farm Insurance in South Haven. I want you to meet Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, good morning, Paul.
Thanks for coming in today. Let's learn about you. Tell us your story. What's your story?
So I originally grew up in mid-Michigan, Okemos area, family of 3 boys, and very sports oriented. So that's actually what led me to go to Hope College. I ended up pursuing athletics, cross country, and tennis were my sports of choice there.
Uh-huh.
And ultimately, that's where I met my wife. We built a family. We've got a 2-year-old daughter, and we actually just recently celebrated our 6-year anniversary a week and a half ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. So ultimately, I started my career early on in the financial advisory world. It's really where I built a passion per se of helping others. Specifically, I remember working with a young couple, young family that they underwent some financial hardship. They lost a spouse too early and a father, and this really led me to realize that in addition to some of the financial difficulties that someone might be taking on in that situation, really they should be spending time with their family, their grief, and unfortunately that thrust them into a situation where it was difficult. I found a lot of value being trusted individual, helping them through that, but really it pinpointed for me the more that we can do on the front end to help others, just small sacrifices today can really avoid major issues down the road. And really, that's what I've taken with me in my position today and with State Farm.
Now, State Farm, well-known name in South Haven, and Andrea Olson, of course, also a name well-known.
Yes.
And that's where you are now. Andrea's retired, and you're in that seat.
Correct. She has been fantastic all the way throughout.
She's awesome.
Couldn't be more happy to be taken over for such a great person, and really just big thank you to the community as a whole too for being so welcoming.
Well, let me ask you, why State Farm? Why should someone consider State Farm?
So State Farm is a mutual company, which means we don't have shareholders that drive the decisions of the company. Really, we're driven by our customers. So State Farm's been around for over 100 years. That in spite of that, we're still very agile. So as the needs of our customers change, so does the company. That really gives me the freedom and flexibility to make sure that we're always putting our customers first in every interaction, providing a top-notch value. So that combination of service and price and financial stability, that's really what State Farm allows us to bring to the table.
Well, it's no secret that rates have been going up in some cases, and people are shopping right now. So, what do you have to offer?
So, people are shopping now. It's one of the worst, from the last year. I would say this is probably one of the biggest price fluctuations that we've seen. So, pricing is always incredibly dynamic. People are shopping today. They should really be taking a stronger look at their insurance policy as a whole. And what we have to offer, as always, is great pricing. In West Michigan in particular, we always price out incredibly well. But beyond that, it's the time we'll take to go through somebody's policy and make sure that the fit is right. Kind of always like the shoe analogy. Very often I get somebody coming to me and say, I need insurance, I need full coverage, I need PLPD. And in the same version, if you walk into a shoe store, you don't say, I just need shoes. They would ask you, well, what size are you and what do you need these shoes for? So you dive into a second level of questioning. We want to make sure that when you look at your insurance, we take that same level of approach, if not more, to make sure that it's the right fit for you.
It's always good to have a review of your insurance, and obviously it's one thing that you pay for that you hope you never need, but that's why it's there, because if you ever need it, then you've got that security. What kinds of questions, you mentioned a couple, but what other questions do people ask when they call your office?
So one of the most common is number one, what is no fault? What does that really mean? Especially for those coming outside of the state of Michigan,
Sure.
they're not used to it.
I remember asking that question myself.
and no fault reform. That's another big one. Is what changed a few years ago? Why does that matter to me? The gist of it, really no fault breaks down to, regardless of that, whether you're at fault or not in an accident, you're still responsible for your own vehicle's damage, your medical bills you select, and really what no fault reform did is it provided more choice in your medical coverage. That was one of the biggest differences in what changed a few years ago in that regard. Apart from that, it's really just a matter of, one of the biggest questions is why is my price changing? So when we look at the last really several years, we've seen prices be incredibly dynamic. They've fluctuated up and down. In recent history, more up than down. So what we look at is, it's not a simple one-off question. You can't just blame inflation on everything. So there are a lot of factors that come into it, and some of which we can control. And so really that's where I try to put the power back in the shoes of our consumers.
You've got a big job and a lot of responsibility, and we rely on those with the expertise to help us through, and that's part of what buying insurance. You don't know what you're buying. You're buying air. It's like buying commercials. But that's why you need an agent to help you through, to guide you through, all that, because it's confusing. It's very confusing.
It is incredibly confusing. That's one area we try to make sure that, from taking a complicated thing, we can try to make it overly complicated, or we can try to simplify it. And that's really one area that I feel I can do a good job of bringing a complicated situation and simplifying it down to the areas of, what is this doing for you? What are the situations that this can come into play? And to your point, you don't know the value of what you have sometimes until you need to use it. So that's really our role as agents, is to communicate the value, understand the what if scenarios, and help customers prioritize what risks they do want to protect against and those that they don't. You can't afford in this world to protect against everything. So it's a matter of prioritizing those risks and determining what's important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. State Farm Kevin Hagen Agency. How do we reach you?
So you can stop by our office anytime. We're located at 228 Broadway, just across from or right next to the Museum there.
Yeah.
And give us a call, 269-637-5655, or email. You can reach me right at kevin@agentsoha.com. Otherwise, I'm supported by a fantastic staff. We've got 5 full-time staff.
Yeah, who's on staff? Go ahead and mention them.
So Doreen Tubergen, she's been with the company over 30 years, brings a ton of experience. Ashley Niles brings over 2 years of experience. She was with Andrea before previously. And I've got some new staff members as well. Josh Wheeler, we've got Thomas, we've got Kelly, we've got Lacey recently too, who's been interning with me. Unfortunately, I'm going to be losing her in a few weeks here as she goes back to college. But they're really fantastic staff overall. You'll see just in communicating with us that everyone really brings a lot of care to the table.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes with us this morning, and good luck with your new agency.
Hey, thank you so much, Paul.
And welcome to South Haven.
Appreciate it.
All right. Kevin Hagen from the State Farm Kevin Hagen Agency, one of our ultimate sponsors today. We appreciate that. Get to our website and get registered for the Ultimate Summer Giveaway till 6 o'clock tonight. Thanks, Kevin.